I'm Ben Wright. I'm a lecturer here on the BSc Sports Coaching, Fitness and Rehabilitation programme. I actually worked as a carpenter, worked on the motorway, and then started to get into health, fitness, and typically went to the gym. From there, I wanted to be a personal trainer, and I went back to college and studied level 2 fitness instructing and personal training. From there, I really developed a strong interest into exercise physiology and the systems of the body, more specifically the cardiovascular system, which led me on to an undergraduate degree, then a master's degree, started teaching at the local college that I used to be a student at, and alongside that did my postgraduate certificate in education. I joined Activate Learning initially in the role of FE and HE, so lecturing in both domains, and I chose the role or applied for the role as it was more orientated around sports science, as they offer a designated level 3 in sport and exercise science, which was my background. Another driving factor was the ability to teach on the higher education programme, initially on the foundation degree, with scope of developing onto the BSc. Yeah, we've tried to grow our local community and opportunities for students to get really strong applied experience. So with some of my links that I've made in my time in Oxford with the Lancers, the University of Oxford American football team, we've had students offer massage and prehab and rehabilitation practices for them and developing strength and conditioning processes with them. Other local community initiatives that we've worked with is on one of the modules on the third year on the BSc, we look at clinical exercise groups. So we've been to Sovereign at Fieldhouse and we've worked with their older residents or older adult residents, developing exercise strategies for them. We've also worked with the life skill learners internally, and we've also had specialists in pre and postnatal exercise be involved with the programme. So the intention really is to give students a lot of applied hands-on experience, so that complements the theory that they've developed on the course of their studies. It does tend to vary by module. So certain modules lay their hands at slightly more practical. The sports coaching element is constantly practical. However, that doesn't negate the understanding of philosophies and coaching philosophies and practices. I would say, depending on the module, it can go anywhere from a 60-40 split or up to an 80-20 split, but predominantly there always is some form of practical hands-on experience, be it in the strength and conditioning suite, being in our makeshift lab, being out in the community to complement the underpinning theory that we develop in the classroom. The facilities that we have are ever expanding and ever growing. I get to work with equipment that I'm really happy to work with, so stuff that is valid and reliable and up to date in terms of being used in the real world. And we get to do exercise testing, prescription and physiological assessments that I find fun and I like to think I'm rather passionate about. They can vary. We do have some students who will go off and follow the traditional personal training route, whereas we've had more recently students go off and be more not advanced per se, but more bespoke to sports teams and athletic events, so working more on strength and conditioning. A lot of our students tend to focus on moving towards physiotherapy and further study at master's level, either physiotherapy or rehabilitation. We've also had quite a lot go out and work with community groups. We've had a few that have gone into teaching themselves at local primary, secondary or further education. And we've also had a couple that have applied their trade in more clinical, because the final year we look at more clinical special populations, and we've had those who have applied to go and work with in terms of cardiac rehabilitation and pulmonary rehabilitation. As the students are Brooks students, they have all access to all of the sports teams, communities and societies that they would get if they were based at Brooks. So a lot of our students are quite social. We have players of lacrosse, football, rackets. Some have go to different societies. We have rock climbers, and they all seem to have their own unique social circles and enjoying the nightlife that Oxford brings. And I would suggest that they ensure they're able to prioritise workload and to organise workload alongside employment and social activities. It is quite a demanding course, as are all degrees, but due to the mix in disciplines as it's focused on sports coaching, fitness and rehabilitation, they have to have a good and strong understanding of all three of those key disciplines, where your more traditional course may focus specifically on one of those program areas. Our students get a whole round approach. Absolutely, I think 2 days doesn't sound like a strong demand. However, that is the taught element, that's the face-to-face taught element of it. With a degree, there's going to be a large emphasis of independent study, specifically in the final year with your dissertation. So yes, it's a 2 day a week on site, but typically you're going to be doing a lot of work outside of hours. However, being said that, with correct organisation and prioritising at certain key moments within your degree, we've had students that have raised families, we've had students that are working part-time jobs, we've had students taking on a variety of voluntary opportunities who've still gone on to be very successful. A majority of our students that arrive here are from local or surrounding areas. There's a good transport link, so there's an ease of access to getting onto site. We do use the facilities at Oxford Brookes, i.e. their sports hall, and it's not a far distance. There's good bus routes, and I myself in the summer don't mind the walk up there. It's quite a nice area to walk through. So being central in Oxford, being local, it allows our students to engage with their studies, still have the social activities that they engage with, and use the Brookes facilities. A lot of our students do stay at Brookes, they use the library there. Like I said, access to the sports teams, the social events on the nights out. We are a stone's throw away. You get to know the individual on more of a personal level, professional and personal, rather than being a number, being a face in a large lecture hall. We get to know our students, we get to know their activities they're engaged with. We can then offer individual support and look at strengths and weaknesses of where to develop, be that academic writing, presenting, depending on the mode or the type of assessment method. We do have designated HE study support that students can access. That is affixed right next to where we work. That's available to students as well. And we've had really good success of students using that, and the change in their writing and their academic conventions has been really good.